What if I told you the happiest character in one of the most chaotic worlds ever created is also the biggest failure? Think about it. No money, no ambition, no status, no 5-year plan. By every metric of our modern society, he is someone who didn't make it. And yet, somehow, he is winning. Today we are talking about SpongeBob SquarePants and why he might be living a far better life than you. Yes, SpongeBob, the guy who lives alone in a pineapple, the guy who works a minimum wage job flipping burgers. He has no career growth, no upcoming promotions, and no exit strategy. And still, he wakes up every single morning like he just won the lottery. That shouldn't make sense. In a world obsessed with hustle culture and getting ahead, SpongeBob is an anomaly. But once you see the logic behind it, you realize the problem isn't SpongeBob. The problem is us. To understand why SpongeBob is a genius, we have to look at the people around him in Bikini Bottom. Each one represents a modern psychological trap that we fall into every day. First, let's look at Mr. Krabs. He is the personification of greed. Not just a normal desire for comfort, but a pathological obsession. Mr. Krabs is the type of person who would charge you for the air you breathe if he could. He has everything we are told to chase: a business, profit, and accumulated wealth. And yet, he is constantly anxious. He is terrified of losing even a single penny. He is never satisfied. He proves that having everything is useless if you live in constant fear that everything isn't enough. Then there's Squidward, the talented one. Or at least that's what he believes. Squidward lives in the tragedy of feeling superior to everyone else. He believes he is smarter, more refined, and more deserving than his surroundings. But his life? It's an empty desert. No recognition, no fulfillment. Just bitterness on a loop. Squidward is the reflection of those who live for their ego, waiting for an applause that never comes. While he looks down on SpongeBob, he doesn't realize he is the one at the bottom of the emotional pit. And what about Plankton? He is pure, unadulterated ambition. No distractions, no excuses. Just one goal: total domination. And yet he fails. Every single time. He is the portrait of the chronic stress felt by those who live only for a future result and forget to live the process. He proves that you can be the most focused person in the room and still be the most miserable. These are the 3 paths society offers us: money, recognition, and power. And all 3 lead to the exact same place: frustration. And then, in the middle of all this chaos, stands SpongeBob. He flips burgers. That's it. There is no empire, no global audience, no legacy carved in stone. Just meat and bread. But here is the secret. He loves it. Not ironically. Not as a facade for the cameras. He genuinely loves it. He sings while he works. He celebrates small wins. He treats every single Krabby Patty as if it were the most important work of art in the world. This makes us uncomfortable. Why? Because we've been taught a very specific formula. That happiness is something you earn after a lifetime of sacrifice. Work hard, suffer now. Get the title, and then, maybe, you'll be allowed to be happy. SpongeBob breaks that entire system. He isn't waiting for anything. He doesn't delay his joy for the weekend or for retirement. He is living it now. This aligns with what philosophers figured out over 2,000 years ago. Happiness isn't a trophy at the end of the race. It's the way you run. It's not something you reach. It's something you practice daily. Think about what actually makes SpongeBob happy. Things that most of us would call meaningless or a waste of time. Catching jellyfish, blowing bubbles, sitting on the ground with Patrick doing absolutely nothing. But the truth is, those things only seem meaningless because we've trained our eyes to ignore the small stuff. We've become so obsessed with big moments, the wedding, the new house, the massive raise, that we've lost the ability to feel the small ones. Most people don't have a happiness problem. They have a perception problem. They are constantly chasing something better. A better job, a better life, a better version of themselves. And because of that, they never fully experience what they already have right in front of them. SpongeBob doesn't have that filter. He is fully present. Not because his life is perfect. His life falls apart all the time, but because he decided to show up anyway. Here is something no one likes to admit. Most jobs in the real world are ordinary. They aren't glamorous. They aren't exciting. And that's fine. The problem isn't the job, it's the way we relate to it. SpongeBob doesn't love his job because the job is special. He makes the job special by how he does it. He cares. He puts effort in, he treats it like it matters, and that decision changes everything. Of course, SpongeBob isn't perfect. He goes too far sometimes. He's naive, too generous, and trusts people he shouldn't. And he pays the price for it. But here is the key difference. He doesn't stay stuck. While most people double down on their mistakes and become bitter, closed off, and cynical, SpongeBob doesn't. He adjusts. He learns. He doesn't allow the world to kill his essence. Look at his life closely. He doesn't have status, but he has something most successful people lack: real relationships. Patrick shows up at his door with no conditions. Sandy respects him for who he is. Gary is always there. That is rare. In our world, people trade real connection for the validation of strangers every single day. They sacrifice true relationships for fleeting status and end the day with neither. We all live with this idea that one day everything will line up. The perfect job, the perfect timing, a life without problems. And then finally we'll relax. Finally we'll enjoy. But life doesn't work like that. Plans fail. Things go wrong. And if your happiness depends on the perfection of your circumstances, you will never reach it. SpongeBob gets that. His days fall apart constantly. He's exploited by his boss. He fails his driving test for the 100th time. And he still finds a way to enjoy the process. This is the part most people ignore. Happiness is not something you earn by merit. It is something you allow yourself to feel. Not later. Now. Not when everything is fixed, but while everything is still a mess. Every morning before leaving his house, SpongeBob looks in the mirror and shouts to the universe, "I'm ready." He doesn't say it because he knows the day will be easy. He doesn't say it because he has a guarantee of success. He says it because he chose to show up regardless of what happens. It isn't superior intelligence. It isn't natural talent. It isn't luck. It is a conscious decision. A decision repeated every single day without fail. So, here is the real question for you. Are you going to keep waiting for the perfect life to arrive before you start living? Or are you finally ready?